Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Naruto Shippuden GAARA figure, which is probably my favorite character from the franchise, which is my favorite franchise. So I'm very excited to be showing this to you guys today. It's got some really nice aesthetics to it. Kind of not so great in terms of articulation, but it's not all that bad. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This figure stands just about 14.5 centimeters, which makes it pretty close to 5 3/4 inches. And this guy is a fairly basic looking character, despite the fact that he is a Super Saiyan God. I mean, he's got the reddish purple hair and it looks cool, but the rest of the figure is kind of like just two colors. It's just gray and purple. But it is done nicely, so that's pretty good. We have some nice line work going down the middle. We have some nice silver buckles on there. They did a good job painting those belts down around the waist. It's pretty clean. I'm very pleased with that. I thought for sure since it's basic they would just kind of slap it on there, but they didn't. They did a good job. And then he also painted the inside of his dress, so it looks pretty good. They also put a little bit of paint on the pants for his little garter belt thingy. So again, pretty nicely done. The only thing that's really bad about this guy in terms of paint, which for some reason they won't do properly on a Naruto figure, is the toes. Like, that's the biggest thing about Naruto, is it's like a thing for toe people, and they just keep painting the toes not well. I don't get that. It's a little weird. But to talk about the paint a little bit more, the head is done really, really well. The Super Saiyan God hair is just shaded very, very nicely. And it's almost impossible to tell where the seam is to pull the hair off to swap out the faces. It's just sculpted and painted really well. And same goes for the face itself. Now, as far as I can tell, it's fairly accurate, and they did a really, really good job with both the eyes and the whatever that is on his head, that kind of, whatever that rash is, I don't know. It looks really, really good though. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the accessories. We do have a few. We have the two fist hands that come on him in the package, two karate chop hands, and then two kind of like claw style pose hands, which is, I don't know what they're for, but that's what they are. And then we also have some interchangeable arms for giving him the crossed arm pose, which is common amongst all Super Saiyans, so that's pretty cool. We also have this weird gourd thing that goes on his back, which looks suspiciously like a screw, but it's painted pretty nicely, and you know, it's kind of heavy. It's hollow, but it's heavy, so it's going to be a little difficult to stand him up with that. We do have three different faces. We do have the normal face, which we already talked about. We have one face where it looks like he's biting his lip a little bit, maybe, and then we have one face where his face is cracking, but it looks really cool, so they did a good job with that. Then lastly, we have a display stand, which isn't really for him, and that's okay though, because it comes with this giant sand claw thing. I don't know what it is, but we have that, and it's done well enough. It's got a ball peg in it so you can rotate around that back piece to change the swipe angle, so that's kind of cool, I guess. All right, so back to the figure. Let's talk about the articulation. I'll show you what we have going on for the neck. It's kind of limited. It's not the best design, but it's not absolutely terrible. We have a ball hinge with a little ball peg at the top, and since that ball hinge is tiny, it just is totally ineffective. But that ball peg works nicely. You can move the head around on that ball peg pretty well, and then the neck itself is on a ball peg too, so you'll be able to move it pretty well. I just wish they would stop using that ball hinge. It does not work well. It's very limiting, but you can still get decent range out of the head, so that's okay. For the shoulders, we have a butterfly joint, which helps bring the arm out a little bit, but it's recessed into the body a little bit too far, so it doesn't really help that much. And then for the shoulder itself, we have our standard ball hinge, which works nicely. You get the arm all the way out to the side, full rotation. You have your bicep swivel built into it, but it's not bad. It works out well enough, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty good. No problems there. Double jointed elbow gives you really nice range, and it's aesthetically pleasing. It's not the best in the world, but it's not ugly, so that's good. By the way, they painted the zipper on his sleeve, so that's pretty cool. And then for the wrists, we do have little ball hinges in there. It's a little bit more limited just because he has baggier sleeves that stick out pretty far, but you get some decent range, so it's not too bad. For his torso, I think it's just a couple of ball pegs, but it's almost worthless. It's basically just a swivel. You really can't use this upper joint at all, and the lower joint is very limited, so very, very limited at the waist. This is a soft plastic belt piece which can rotate independently of everything else. and it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be because it's split down the sides, so you can put him in a pose if you want to, but it's not. It's kind of like Kylo Ren, where he looks like a badminton thingy, and that's not great. But it's not as bad as it could be. So you also have the new style hips. So like like all the Dragon Ball figures have this now, where you just have the hinge going out to the side. That tends to get loose, and watch what happens. It snaps back down into place, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to pose this guy regardless of the dress. Going forward is almost impossible because you have this big chunk of dress on the front, which wraps around the side, so it can't really even flex. So that's a problem. Thigh swivel works just fine. Double jointed knee works really well, but like I said, you're not going to be able to use it that much. And then we have ball hinge ankles, which work surprisingly well despite his pants coming all the way down there. So that's pretty good. And then our toe hinge it's there. It's okay. So ultimately, this guy's pretty mediocre. I wouldn't say it's a bad figure. Just don't expect to really pose it too much at all. But it's going to look good standing on your shelf. So I guess if you want to put him in more of a traditional classic hero stoic pose, you could do that. But that's about it. It's pretty limiting, which is kind of a problem. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.